A big ambition Rick Riordan had for the Disney Plus adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, to have Hephaestus make an appearance in Episode 5, is being fulfilled. Hephaestus, deity of fire, technology, and blacksmiths, is introduced in Episode 5 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. In the Disney Plus version of the story, Hephaestus faces discrimination and unfair treatment because of his disability. Timothy Omunson's casting as Hephaestus shows the show's dedication to realistic portrayal and highlights the character's abilities rather than focusing on his impairments. One of Rick Riordan's main goals for the series is accomplished in Percy Jackson and the Olympians Episode 5, which features an unexpected cameo from a particular Greek god. In the 5th episode, a god buys us cheeseburgers. The youthful demigods meet Ares, a crucial god who gives them clues about the series' unnamed enemy and sends them on a mission to retrieve his shield. Even though the Greek god Hephaestus doesn't appear until the 4th book of Riordan's Percy Jackson trilogy, his early cameo is a nice touch. As Annabeth struggles to rescue Percy from the Tunnel of Love ride at the deserted amusement park of Waterland, the first appearance of Hephaestus, Timothy Omunson, occurs on screen. When Percy sits on his golden throne, he releases Ares' shield from the hands of a statue nearby, and the chair ensnares him in gold. By playing Hephaestus, Omunson gives viewers a new take on the Greek gods in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. More importantly, having Hephaestus there from the beginning helps fulfill one of Riordan's initial intentions when he penned the books in the series. Hephaestus, the protagonist of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, is shown to have physical disabilities. Because he is the only Olympian with significant physical disabilities, Hephaestus is portrayed as an outsider among the spirits. A huge lump of a man with a leg in a steel brace, and a misshapen head. This description, from the 3rd book, The Titan's Curse, emphasizes his physical impairments. As a result of his forging job, he has lumpy welts on his face in the Heroes of Olympus series. His misaligned shoulders are said to give him a perpetual slouched posture. The Disney Plus version of the story downplays Hephaestus's limp and other physical abnormalities by having him walk with the aid of a cane. The emphasis is not on Hephaestus' limitations, despite how dramatic this transition appears. Rather than emphasizing Hephaestus' uniqueness, the play uses the light show on the Tunnel of Love's walls to allude to his struggles, which highlights the gods' cruel treatment of one another. His mother Hera's disownment and his wife Aphrodite's rejection and adultery are the parts of Hephaestus' narrative that get the most attention. The show brings attention to the unfair prejudice that people with disabilities often endure by centering on the brutal abuse Hephaestus receives due to his handicap. Reasons why Hephaestus can help Rick Riordan get his representation. Having Omunson play Hephaestus is a vital way that Riordan pays homage to a more sympathetic and empowered version of the character. Omunson, who was paralyzed in his left arm, hand, and leg after a stroke in 2017, as reported by TV Insider, discusses some of the character's limitations in real life. Casting someone who has a natural affinity for Hephaestus's condition brings a level of sincerity and deference to the portrayal of people with disabilities. It is just who he is, much like it is who I am, Omunson explained to TV Insider, expressing his agreement with the show's decision not to center Hephaestus' infirmities during his cameo. I was satisfied with their decision on how to address that. Everyone it can be a hero, and what sets one apart from everybody else is something to be celebrated, via Cosmopolitan, which is part of Riordan's goal of representation. The god of blacksmiths, fire, and technology, Hephaestus, demonstrates that his abilities and knowledge are more important than his impairments by demonstrating that he overcomes them. His skill as an artisan is crucial to his fighting savvy, as his inventiveness is connected to the god's weapons. Items from Percy Jackson and the Olympians' magical inventory elaborate on this and showcase his creations, like the Waterland theme park, the device at the park's entrance, and his mechanical golden throne. The significance of Hephaestus in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians film series by Disney. A more profound connection to the gods' views and actions toward each other is established by Hephaestus' inclusion in the Tunnel of Love scene. In his brief conversation with Annabeth, Hephaestus shows that he can look beyond the silliness of Olympus, a sentiment that Riordan also expresses. In Episode 5, he is shown as sympathetic, which changes the book's cynical picture of him as someone who sets traps to shame Ares and Aphrodite for their affair by broadcasting it to Olympus. That Hephaestus may be humanized and break the bad patterns of the Olympian gods is highlighted by his compassion, which demonstrates his fragility despite being a god in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Although the Percy Jackson gods' comments imply that the youthful demigods possess irredeemable selfishness, this offers a hopeful outlook for them. Hephaestus says, "Some of us don't like being that way," in response to Annabeth's assertion that the god's main concern is power and grandeur, which she finds repugnant in his act of releasing Percy from his throne. Hephaestus demonstrates his significance to the quest by comparing himself to the demigods. Future Percy Jackson and the Olympians' appearances, such the Titan's Curse and the Battle of the Labyrinth, will be able to investigate Hephaestus's role with respect for disabled people, thanks to the positive portrayal of him in this installment.